Alright, we are here once again for the Expedition Viewer Tournament. Right on time, exactly on 9 o'clock. We have Initiate and Ghar. So, CelticGuardian was the mono time list, which has done very well so far. And we're just gonna fade this music slowly out. Sorry about that. Yeah, and Sand Warriors and everything's are going here. We're gonna make sure Deranged Dan also knows to go. And we'll see how this works out. This is an interesting starting hand. There's not enough here to really start with, but the ability of having Temple Scribe so you get 2 draws right away, and CelticGuardian is on the draw, not on the play, is very, very helpful. Yeah, this is round 3. The winner of this goes on to the semis and fights Lazy Minerva. So right away we're going to be having the semifinals coming up fairly shortly here. Alright, there we go. We've got Deranged Dan with their Yeti deck. And we saw it do insane amounts of value against earlier opponents. Especially, it really relies heavily on Wump, but also Thunderrock's Masterwork. And either one of those was enough to put it into a really amazing spot against the previous opponents. This is an awkward turn, yeah. You're not able to use the Seal of Devotion Warp, so you basically just have to use Temple Scribe to draw it. I think that's the correct move, but it kind of sucks. It's possible that it would be better to play Ghar and warp the seal because you're essentially getting the same thing anyway. But yeah, not an easy turn for Celtic. Oh, click through before seeing the warp. That's fair enough. Either way, though, it was going to be a tough one, honestly, because warping that wasn't really a difference, right? Because you want to be able to play Ghar on a turn when you're playing something else, too. Or just shifting it later is really important. Right now, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to have a Ghar. It's not doing a good job of blocking or anything. However, Tocas. Tocas is a real disgusting blocker here for Sephoris. If they don't have a Permafrost, it can be pretty annoying. We'll see, though. Because obviously, with the quick draw, Blurreechaser can combine with torches and things to be able to take it down. And we just gotta see if Sephoris continues to smash in, is the real question as to whether or not they have it. Or if they're good enough at bluffing. You never know. We saw an almost bluff earlier with the Valkyrie Enforcer and a 4/4 Silverwing in one of the previous rounds. Alright, here comes Bam. And yeah, Ghar comes in and silences everything, which, man, I love that. Like, that's really backbreaking. It's hard to overstate how much the shift on this does. So, when it comes into play normally, every enemy unit with flying is silenced, like when they play them. But you can shift it and just silence everything in their hand. And it doesn't seem like a lot, but I have had a lot of games go really south for my opponents really fast by having a Ghar come down. I've also been wrecked by it myself, let me tell you. I don't like not blocking there from Celtic. Tocas is good, and it's doing some work here, but I feel like you had to stop the Blurreechaser eventually and call the... I don't know if it's a bluff or not, but you have to try and eventually say, like, okay, listen, it's time to block. With that top deck of Xenan Obelisk, though, I imagine... Ooh, I was going to say, we imagine we have a Sand Warrior block now. But we got a Wump top deck, which is very, very nice. So Sephoris actually top decked 2 cards in a row. Both Camp Surveyor and the Wump had to have come off the top. And man, this is the sick combo. So we get Bam making a Yeti Spy. Yeti Spy has an Infiltrate draw card, and Wump makes it deals the damage immediately. So it just, every time that Bam attacks, it makes a 2/2 and draws a card. Just some sick rips off the top of the deck from Sephoris here. Ooh, and Celtic takes all of it. I don't know that I agree with that. That's a very tough decision here. You've got to start making some trades real fast because right now, Sephoris can start throwing away a lot of units just to get damage through. I felt like that might have been the time to try and do like a double block on Bam and stop it from attacking again this turn and drawing even more cards. But rough situation to be in no matter what. You'll notice, I mean, Celtic Guardian does have a fair bit of power on Sephoris, even though Sephoris has drawn some extra cards. Some of that is from Tocas, but not all of it is. Let's see what's happening over on Sephoris' side. I can't imagine that it's bad. Sephoris looks like they're in a very good position here. I mean, just attacking all out takes away half of Celtic's remaining life and leaves them at 4. The big question is, what backup do they have? Yeah, here we go. Oh, sorry, not even that. Because of the Wump entrance here, it's 3. We didn't see any pre-combat Yetis, which is very interesting to me. Oh, God, wow, Ghar is still shifted. Right. Is this even just lethal? It's 1 short. Is there, like, a Thudrock's Masterwork Snowball in the mix? Ooh, a Silence Shiny Finder. Oh, and then a Torch. Okay. I was going to say, the Shiny Finder should have come down pre-combat and it would have guaranteed the Snowball win, but Torch will also set that up. Every time that I think this Yeti deck might be in a little bit of trouble, it pulls out a Wump and just starts crushing. This thing is very scary. Good to go. Thank you everybody for waiting for me like this, by the way. I'm ready. Alright. I think it's probably because I'm observing Sephoris instead. Who's winning? So far, Yeti's won round 1. This is kind of a tough hand. Ooh, going down to 6. Oh no. And this is a very, very rough hand. I kind of like that last hand, but Sephoris knows their deck better than I do, and I defer to their judgment on just how aggressive they need to be and what they need in their hand to actually pull out a win. Problem is now, this hand is very obviously worse than that, unless they start drawing Primal right away.
It's written right here.
This hand is looking pretty dicey. Oh man, and Celtic Guardian is ramping fast. So this is going to get very nasty very, very quickly. Another Fire Sigil is definitely not doing it. Like, Sephoris gets a little bit of random damage in here, but this is not much of a game right now. Yeah. I feel like a turn 3 Reinhardt is pretty good. At this point, I would not be surprised if we just see a scoop. There's really no answers that Sephoris has in hand, and we would need to have, say, like, Primal into Primal, and then get Chunk Chunk down as a chance to even start a chain where there could be something happening. Yeah. And that's assuming, of course, and we obviously are seeing that that's not the case, the Celtic Guardian has nothing. And oh boy, that is not the case, because Celtic Guardian is, in fact, far away from having nothing.
It's written right here.
Celtic Guardian has basically everything. Yeah. Hate to see it, not a very close game, but sometimes you mulligan to 6 and just don't have the cards. Ooh, Celtic with the rough hand this time. This one looks okay, though. I mean, not great, but definitely okay. Hopefully, Sephoris has a little bit better luck. Make sure Celtic knows to go. I think they're just waiting for me, which is actually very helpful. Sephoris might be waiting on like a hard hand here, deciding whether or not to mulligan too. This Ageless Mentor is really solid in Celtic Guardian's deck, but looks very awkward in a hand without any big units. So Celtic is going to pretty desperately want to top deck well here. This might be a hand where Celtic, despite how aggressive this hand looks, they might have wanted to be on the draw. Just to get 2 chances to draw something that costs 4 or more. Any of the higher cost cards are really good for them right now at the Ageless Mentor, because they can play it down on turn 2. And right now they might even just hold off. I can actually see them doing that. Alright, there we are. Good to go. Pretty standard opening. 2 different 1-drops from both sides. And Sephoris has a tough choice here, apparently. Okay, yeah, good top deck by Ageless Mentor. By CelticGuardian. Now they can use their Ageless Mentor and get Gnash up there, which is very helpful. Sephoris' deck does not have a lot of great ways to deal with big units. That's always the problem with playing Primal, is that there's not necessarily hard answers to things. There's some Permafrosts, but Gnash just still sits there and makes 1/1s, right? So that's not the best thing in the universe against Gnash. It helps, but it's not exactly the best thing. And god, a turn 3 Xenan Obelisk just feels backbreaking. Yeah, like, Ice Bolt obviously can help, but Ice Bolt doesn't actually deal with Gnash anymore, is what I mean. Like, it's not a real hard removal. So chat talking about Ice Bolt, but unfortunately, once it's at 8, it can't deal with very, very large idiots. And, in fact, Sephoris' deck doesn't even run the Ice Bolt. It doesn't have it. Just as an aside. It instead relies on just Permafrosts and Torches. It's got 3 Permafrosts, 4 Torches, and actually, like, there's some other ones that are sort of removal. For example, there is 2 Avalanche Yetis as well. And then you have, in the market, you have a Polymorph, a Char, and a Cobalt coin, actually, that kind of does some pseudo-removal work, I imagine. Sephoris might be stuck on power here, too. Definitely having a difficult decision here for this turn. Deep in thought about what they can do. But yeah, I feel like this game is pretty firmly in the hands of Celtic right now. Just Gnash is so hard to answer. I don't know what they do if CelticGuardian gets 1 more power and manages to get to Gnash. Because I can't think of a lot of lines that get there besides, like, Gnash blocks and they have multiple torches, or they draw 3 torches, because a Permafrost just really doesn't deal with the other half of Gnash, right? Which is the 1/1 Arana every single turn. And it's not a lot, but it quickly becomes overwhelming, and especially when you're looking at Xenan Obelisk being in play too. We might be having a connection issue? Let me just see here. Alright, let me just see what's happening. Oh, yeah, no, that's okay. Alright, well, there's one of the answers that was happening. So that's one of the things that could have dealt with Gnash, kind of. But again, it's not a permanent solution. And yeah, Sephoris did miss power here. So, I mean, Celtic's immediately going to go to 6, get this Gnash. The top deck of the Time Sigil is amazing. And CelticGuardian is also in a really good position of any power cards help out with Xenan Obelisk and fairly quickly get them to 8. And any non-power cards, they have 6 power. They're going to be able to play them. And that's going to be super helpful. Yeah, I like this block a lot from Celtic. Because they know that they have Gnash coming down. And so throwing away a little bit of value and forcing removal out of Sephoris' hand is going to make it more difficult to make sure that Gnash dies, right? Like, if Gnash sticks around, Celtic Guardian can't really lose. And now just making sure that there's more removal that has to be used before Gnash comes down makes it even more unlikely that Sephoris actually has an answer. Because I know that Sephoris can't have Ice Bolts, they just don't have them in their deck. But I'm not sure that Celtic Guardian remembers that. Like, they do have access to look at the deck, but it's very easy to not necessarily notice that and not know. And so they might be thinking like, well, if they have Torch and Ice Bolt, then that can be a problem. Or double Ice Bolt, and you can just get some of that out of the way. A lot of removal from Sephoris, but that, I mean, 1-1 with Killer is quickly becoming a 3-3 with Killer here in a minute. And that eats a large percentage of Sephoris' board as time goes on. Going with an attack here. Which I like a lot, because they're just trying to get them to attack in, so they can use Saber-Tooth and get some value. Yep. Sephoris just on a really awkward hand here, and it's... I don't know how they're going to get out of this. We did see Celtic Guardian have a lot of trouble with power last time, and now... I won't say the roles are reversed, because it's not exactly the same situation, but yeah, this is not looking so hot. Or sorry, no, it was Sephoris last time too, sorry, twice in a row. With all those firepower. Now it's deck not cooperating super well here. A Wump helps a bit, because it does let Bam get in and draw a card, but that's not going to be... It still just trades, right? Like, it's not ultimately doing everything. Oh. I'm surprised that there's no double block here from Celtic. When you know that you're going to be able to get Arana every single turn off of Gnash, I'm willing to throw away a lot of extra value and do a double block there and make Sephoris have the trick. I can also very much understand just wanting to play very safe, though, because Celtic knows that they have this game. Like, the only thing that they can do is a big mistake that would throw the game away for themselves. There's really no line of play that Sephoris can take without a major mistake on behalf of Celtic Guardian that loses the game for Celtic, right? Like, Sephoris needs to play excellent, and you need not just Celtic Guardian to not draw gas or anything, but you need Celtic Guardian to actively play bad. Yeah, and you just get a 3-5 in here. The 1-4 can block, but then it just gets killered. And we're seeing that Gnash just kind of unstoppable levels of value here. We've seen it kill 2 extra units and add a lot of power to the board. And it's just going to keep on racking up. Oh, God. Everything with Killer gets larger, and that is almost the entirety of Celtic Guardian's board. And it's going to be even more, because both of these will get Killer as well. And it should be the game. Yeah, so we'll see a Torch kill that. It does shrink the board here, but not enough to really do anything. So some quick and decisive games here. Just a little bit of some bad draws on the half of Sephoris, for sure. Celtic had a bit of a tough game 1, but boy, this Yeti deck has had a real hard time of it the last 2 games. Oh my god. Ooh. And another Obelisk more than seals the deal. But well played, and these are certainly things that happen. Celtic Guardian did bring a mono-time deck list to this event. In no small part, I'm sure, because of the fact that mono-time is just going to be very consistent. You don't have to worry about any influence requirements. And that's the reward, right? As occasionally you'll just crush people like that.